All right. Okay. All right, just double checking. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, how about now?
That is good.
Okay, good. All right, so let me get back. Okay. All right, good morning. I hope that everyone is well this morning. Thank you for attending. Okay, so today's workshop, we're gonna look at a few of the tools that are supported by the university, along with a few underutilized Canvas tools. So some of these you may be familiar with, but others you might not be familiar with. But I'm gonna switch gears and get on to who I am. For those of you wondering, who is this guy? I've never seen him before. I don't know this guy. Okay, I am Joel Staves. I work here in the digital learning office. I am a digital course support specialist for the College of Business, as well as the College of Ed and Psych. I'm a Southwest Louisiana native, and I'm an alumni of McNeese State University. And these are the items that are going to be covered in today's workshop. So there's 12 there, and we're going to spend a few minutes on each one of them. And I've got my colleague Zulma in here. She's going to be monitoring the chat for me. She's going to be looking at, she's going to be checking for any other guests popping in. She's going to be looking at any questions that appear. And if you just see me, you might want to switch to the shared content to be sure that you see what's on the screen. And so the first tool we're going to look at Folio. So I'm going to click in right here, and whenever you log into Canvas and you hit your profile picture, you'll see the Folio option there. But what Folio is, it's a portfolio builder. So this is good for students to use whenever they're building a portfolio through their college career. They can import items from Canvas, so some of their best submissions. They can highlight any new projects that they're working on. They can look at other folks' projects and connect with people based on common interest. And now if I click on any of those 4 tabs there, you'll see that this does open up to an external site. It's Portfolio. Okay, so if I go into, let me go back. I go into the settings. Oh, let me move this bar out of the way. Okay. I go into the settings here, you'll see that in addition to importing submissions, I can also import badges from Badger. So if I have any badges here, I can also import from there. So now if I go to my main page here, you'll see that I can add accomplishments, add a resume. So it's similar to, to that of LinkedIn. And I can see any connections, suggestions. So based on the major that I put down in my profile, these are some of the skills that will be advised that I add. So going back, in addition to being a portfolio builder, this is also a resume builder. So if I say this is a PDF, I can get a one-page summary. Or if I say this is a full profile, I will get a resume based on my entire profile. So to see what that looks like, this is what the resume would look like. So, and then this is what a summary would look like. Pretty simplistic, just gives me a link to my profile. And now I would use this over the e-portfolios because with the e-portfolio, you do have to rebuild this elsewhere because the e-portfolio just saves as a PDF. I mean, not a PDF, as a zip file. So you'll have to reorganize those files. Whereas with Folio, students can take this with them when they leave, given that they may have to change a password or an email address. All right, so this next tool we're going to look at is video quizzes. So you can actually do this as a graded assignment or as something that's ungraded. So I'm going to go in now to my studio library, and you see I have a lot of stuff in here. So tutorials and videos for other faculty. So if I go to this video here and I hit these three dots here, and I have a quiz in here already. And these are the markers for my questions. And let's see, I think this is at like 57 seconds and 140. If I want to edit that, you'll see that I can hide the timeline. So if I just want students to be caught off guard with this, I can do that. And when I want to add a question, I can do multiple choice, I can do true, false, or I can do multiple answer. And when I want to embed this somewhere, so let me go to the course of mine that I want to go into. If I do this as an external, as an external tool, and then I'll select Studio. It's a little slow this morning. Okay, there it is. All right, here it is. And then I select the quiz that I want to embed. And then I'll embed that, and that will just appear as a video in your module and should be at the very bottom. Where did it go? Didn't go through. Let's try that again. Oh, okay. I forgot to add the item. Okay. Okay, there it is. And then when this video plays, and then if I wanted to do this as a graded item, I would just set this up as an assignment, and then I would do the external tool that way. Now, for those of you who do use Studio, Studio actually has their own analytics. So when I click on a video, now for this one, you will need to have the Studio tab in your course. And now this tab is actually not visible to students. See, it's right below my collaborations tab. And if I go into the student view, you see that it's not visible. So I'm going to leave student view now. And I'm going to click on, let's see, not this one. Yeah, I'm going to go to this video here. And then I'm going to go to Insights. All right, so I'm in Insights, and you see that I can filter out by different roles. So I can do students, teachers, or all roles. So if I just look at students and I scroll down, you'll see that I get an idea as to the type of viewership that my video is getting. So when you see these areas like that are risen or peaked, these indicate areas that have the most amount of viewers and views, and you see these submerged regions, this indicates a part of your video that was skipped over, that was ignored, that was not viewed as much. And if you scroll down a little bit further, you can see who's actually completed the video. Now, what somebody has watched the video completely, their completion rate will be 100%. But for those who have a completion rate of less, if you click on these bars, you can see who's bounced around, who's watched very little. You can see who's watched most of the video and then stopped. So it gives you an idea as to how much attention your videos are getting. And as a general rule of thumb, for an online course, you want to keep your videos relatively short. Okay, I would say 20 minutes or less. An exception would be if you're recording this lecture live and this is a synchronous online course and you're just archiving this video. But those are a couple of ways for you to get an idea as to the type of attention your video is getting. So this is a poll everywhere activity. So get your phone ready and I'm just gonna see how much you've been paying attention so far. So in Folio, there was a badge source that could be imported into a Folio portfolio. Do you remember which one that was? You'll just text one of these codes to this number. Okay. All right. Okay. Good job. That's correct. It would be Badger. So next slide. So the Canvas attendance tool. And you guys, let me just go off a script for a minute. You can almost think of this as a level 2 foundations. Like for those of you that attended the foundations workshop at the beginning of the semester. This is just kind of a little bit more in depth. Look at a few tools that may not have been covered then. So we're in the attendance tool now, and you can add it via this tab, or this is also, if you add an external tool, this is also the roll call tool. So with this tool, for those of you who teach face-to-face, you can mark attendance, so you can indicate whether somebody is here, somebody is absent, somebody's late, or if they're excused, you can just leave them unmarked. So if I go into the roll call settings, I can determine what I consider to be late. So let's say my class is an hour and they miss, I don't know, the first 10 minutes of this. So that means they've attended most of the course. So let's say I consider to be 90% to be late. I can also do that. And then when you look here, you'll see somebody's attendance rate as you click on a student. And if I click on class, I can actually create a seating chart with the students that I have in it. So if I edit the seating chart right here, I can move that around and it automatically saves, so that's good. And if you are teaching a course that you have combined, you'll see that you have all sections available, and you can do the same thing with those sections. And now if I click on the attendance report here, you see that I can actually run a report. So let's say I want to run this at the end of the semester, and then I can select the email that I want it to go to. This will come to me as a CSV, and the link will last about 6 hours. So I should be getting the email in just a little bit, but the link will last about 6 hours. And I can also choose to not count this towards the final grade if I wish. For those of you who are big on group work, the Canvas collaborations tool is a nice feature. And I'm going to close out some of these other tabs. Okay, so I can create a collaboration using Google Docs, Google Drive, or OneDrive. And so that means I can do presentations, documents, as well as spreadsheets directly from Canvas. And students can also create these. They can create these for the purpose of shared notes. But when you create one, you'll give the document a name, and then you'll add the students that you want to be able to edit that document. And if you have any groups in your course, you can add those groups as well. So if I go to one of mine, I'm going to go to this one. Okay, this is one that I have set up using OneDrive. So if I go in to edit this document and I turn this editor on, okay, okay, there it is. You'll see that I get a similarity report. So I can get a report before I've uploaded this. And now keep in mind, this does not tie back directly to the gradebook. Okay, so you will need to create an assignment that ties back to the gradebook. And you'll want to have the file upload option selected, because whenever you do that, students can pull from their computer, they can pull from OneDrive, from Google Drive, etc. So this is what a student would see whenever they go in to upload that. All right, here's another one. Go back. All right. All right, here's another. If you recall correctly, these items can be created by teachers as well as students. Is this true or is it false? Just text one of these codes to this number. Oh, Okay. They actually can be created by students as well. So when a student creates, they're just going to create a document for shared notes, but they can be created by them. So for those of you who attended the academic dishonesty workshop recently, you know about Unicheck. So Unicheck, as you know, it's a plagiarism tool. It allows you to compare sources, check for plagiarism. So I'm gonna go to this uploaded assignment here, and you see I get this similarity score. And full disclosure, this is actually an original. This is actually a research paper that I did in graduate school. So there is quite a bit of quoting in this. Okay. But you see that I can compare internet sources, I can compare library sources. I can look at any similar text, I can look at references, but look, I can compare internet and library sources. But again, you know, there are a lot of quotes in this because there was a lot of quoted research and interviews that I had to do off, you know, outside of class. This is back in 2010. Yes, y'all, I'm that old. But also, for those of you who have a homework assignment and you have a template that you want students to use. So this is a template assignment that I created, and I have the template available for a student to download. So now for this, what I would do is I would go to the speed grader, and initially I just uploaded this, I submitted this in the test student account. So the similarity score is 0. And then once I did that, I went to templates and then I uploaded that template. So now, as other students submit, you should see the similarity scores get lower and lower, like this student here. And then you see this student has a lower one. And you see once I've uploaded that template, you'll see that the questions have been omitted or ignored. So it's not counting the questions, it's only looking at answers once you've done that. So I would use this if you're very particular about an assignment, but if you're using this for the purpose of checking for plagiarism for an essay, I wouldn't worry about the template so much. All right. So the Canvas rubrics, all right. Now I'm not gonna kid you, rubrics, they're not the most fun to build out. I'm not gonna kid you about that one, but they are a lifesaver. They're definitely a convenience once you've got them done. So I can build them in a rubrics tab. So, and if you don't have these tabs, you can always get these tabs from your settings and by going to your navigation. But now going back, I can build in here and I can add a rubric, and I can clone, you know, each criteria once I've got one added. So, and once you use a rubric in more than one place, you won't be able to edit it. If you do try to edit it, it's going to create a new copy of that. So if we look at that. So if we look at an assignment here, so I have this annotation assignment right here, and I've attached a rubric to it. And if I click on the pencil, you'll see that I can actually remove points from a rubric if I just want to focus on ranking. But if I want to use this for grading, I'll check that. So just get out of that. And then if I go to the speed grader here, and I'll go to this test student, and I click view rubric, you see I can just click, give them their point value, and you see that I can also give them a comment here in this, in this box. And then once I've done that, I'll just save, and that score does save. And if you want to see how that works, so I look at this movie essay. I go and I want to add a rubric, and then I'll find in here, all the courses that I'm in will appear. And I'm gonna scroll down a little bit and go to the sandbox. Here it is. And yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. So this is how I can either build directly, or if I have the rubric built out, I can just pull it from my rubric, from my collection, and then I can use this rubric. And you see, rubrics, they can be as lengthy or as short as you want them. And even like the ratings, you can do a range of points, or you can just have the rating be all or none. And then again, you can use it for grading. You can hide the total score. You can write free-form comments. It's pretty flexible what you can do with these. Again, they're not the most fun to build, but they will save you a lot of time once you've got them done. So if you're honest with me, I just want to know how you guys feel about the pace of this workshop. Am I going too fast? Do I need to speed this up? Is it at a good pace? Is it bearable? Am I talking too much? Don't worry, I won't know who's actually submitting these results, so you can feel free. Okay. Somewhat quick, but I'm hanging on. Okay. Okay. 50-50. Okay, somewhat quick. Okay. Well, it's a good thing, there'll be Q&A. So again, I'll be glad to go over anything that's been covered so far. Okay. I guess I can. I'll just let these 18 seconds play through, and then we'll go to the next. All right. Okay, so the next couple of tools we're going to look at are going to be some accessibility tools. So first one we're going to look at is this accessibility checker. So when I click, you'll see I have a page with some information. So let's just make this a lesson. So this is just a lesson. So if I go to edit, and then I click on this person, you'll see I'll get some problems. So sometimes it could be text related. Sometimes it could be an image issue. So for example, this text should not contain more than 120 characters. And then as you correct these problems, you'll see that these issues go away. And this also works for charts and tables. So if you have a chart, for example, and let's get out of that. Let's let's get out of the edit mode, and I'm gonna go to a chart now. Okay. And when I hit edit, and then again, I'll go to this person right here. You'll see I'll get some problems with the table. So like the table needs to include a caption. And then the table should also include one header. And then again, as you correct these, you'll see that these problems will disappear from the accessibility checker. So that's just a quick way to get your content accessible or readable to all students. Make sure no students are being left out. And now another accessibility tool is the Immersive Reader. Now the Immersive Reader is actually a Microsoft tool, but there is a plugin here in Canvas. So we go in, and if I go to my account and I go to my settings, I'll scroll down and I will enable this. And you see I've got it enabled already. So if I go back one and I turn this on, you'll see that it makes it a little easier for somebody who may have an LD or somebody who has a vision problem. It makes it easier to read. And there's also an option to play this. And I can actually modify the voice. So I can choose a male voice or a female voice. I can speed this up. If I want to make the text a little smaller, I can do that. And there are 3 different text options for me to pick from. And if I want a darker screen, I can do that. So I can make the screen a little darker. And if I go down, the source formatting, what that does is it keeps everything that was bolded, italicized, underlined in the original page. It keeps it as such when you have it in this format. So if I scroll up, you'll see this text here is bolded because I had it bolded in the original. And I can also break words out into syllables. I can filter out certain parts of speech. So nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. And for individuals who may be colorblind, I can show the labels on each part of speech. And then if I go to the reading preferences, I can focus on a particular line, and I can actually focus on up to 5. So if I make this a little smaller, you see that I can focus on up to 5 lines at a time. I can translate this to a different language, and I can filter that out by word or by document. And this picture dictionary for certain words, what will happen is whenever I click on a certain word, I'll get an illustration of what that word means. And this is a Microsoft tool, so it's generally available if you're using the Microsoft Edge. So it looks like this little book icon right here, but in the event that you don't see this, you can actually just highlight and then you can right click. And you'll see that I have pretty much the same options, but I have a few more voice options as well. And as far as my grammar tools, that hasn't changed. And the themes don't change much either. But you do have a little bit more whenever you use it directly in Edge. And now this tool is available in Chrome. There's with an extension called Helperbird, but you can only view up to like 2,000 characters. But this product is becoming increasingly available throughout the web. All right, so those of you're probably already familiar. Flipgrid recently had a name change. So I'll log in. And this is a question I occasionally get. How do I properly set this up? How does this go? So if I log in to my account and then I go to settings, and then I'll go down to integrations. I'll scroll down, and this is where I'll add them. So I can add a new one. And then this is how I get my consumer key and my shared secret. So if I go into my course now, and I go in and I do settings, section, navigation, no, the app is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to type in the app name. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to add that app. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to get my consumer key and my shared secret. All right. And then when I want to create an assignment, and give it a name, or then I'm going to do more options. And I will say this is an external tool. I'll be find, and then I'm going to locate the integration that I just created, and here it is. Put some directions, and I'm going to open this assignment up for today. And I'm going to save that. And now you'll see that I have my assignment. And if I go into the member view, you'll see that I can add my responses, and you can really make these videos your own. So if I go into, okay, so I'm using this laptop camera here. So here I can record. You see that I can draw on this if I want. So let me stop that. You see that I can draw. I can add some neat frames to this if I want. I can make this like a board. So basically, I can really make this video my own. I can really show my personality in this video. And I would say that as somebody who is from this town where this hurricane hit, I would say that's a tough one. Maybe attend some meetings, maybe. Okay, I digress. So I'll hit next. And then I can just post that, and then my post will appear. So now if I go to that topic, you see that I'm there. So if I go back, and again, guys, if I'm going too quick, just let me know. So the next one is this annotation assignment. Now, this was actually covered in foundations. So this is just a repeat. So here I have an assignment, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna edit this. And when you want to create this assignment that allows students to mark up and add text, what you'll do is you'll want the submission type to be an online submission. And then you're going to select the student annotation option. And then I have the style in my files here, so I'm just going to pull it from my files. So I'm going to upload that one. And I'm going to save that. And in the student view, I have this option to select. I can point, I can highlight, and let's see if I can make this a little larger. I can highlight, I can add text. I can strike through. And then, of course, this free flow, I can just draw freely. So if I want to highlight that, I can do that. And then I can add text that will link to what I just drew over. And this works with Word documents, PDFs. I mean, that's what I would use. And then once that is done, the student will simply submit, and then this will show up in the speed grader for you. So leaving the student view, I'm going to go into the speed grader, and now you see I've got it. I've got this student. That's in here. You can view this student's results, and then you can grade them accordingly. So we have a couple of questions coming up. Do you remember the analytics source in Canvas Studio and what it was called? Okay. And the next one. And it is. All right. So we are here at the Zoom whiteboard. And let me say, I think the Zoom whiteboard has definitely improved since it first came about. So you have far more. So now with the whiteboard, and this is available in the Zoom software. So you do want to ensure that you're using the latest. But in the event that you're not, you can access this via the cloud by going to zoom.us and then logging in like you normally would. And now you have templates that you can start off with. And it looks like they've actually added a few templates recently. So based on what you're trying to do, if you want to do like a problem and a root cause, you want to do a basic flow chart, storyboard, 2 truths and a lie, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you can start off with that. And if I go into a whiteboard, you see that you can now import images. You can have up to 12 items or 12 pages in a whiteboard. And you can do a bit more. So if I choose this grab tool here, you see that I can kind of move this around. If I want to zoom this out or zoom it in, I can do that. You see, I have the sticky note options. I have these more tools. So I have the table option, and then I have the mind maps, which are sort of like bubble clusters. So if I go to an example of one, so if I begin with an idea and then I have different ideas that break off from these ideas, that's ultimately what the mind mapping is. It's another form of brainstorming. So, I mean, your options are, I mean, the sky's the limit, okay? It's infinite what you can do with this. So if you get the opportunity to play around with this, I would encourage it and see what sort of masterpiece you can create from it. But you do have a lot more features in this whiteboard than you did in the past. And so now here's the bonus. So Poll Everywhere, the tool that we've been using much of this workshop. If I go out, so if I go to my Poll Everywhere account, and I decide I'm going to, and I think I'm already logged in, so that's right, I did hyperlink that, okay. So I'm logged in with the Gmail account, but here are the higher ed plans. And now with the higher ed plan, you actually do have you're allowed up to 40 responses per activity. And that's with a free account. But if you were gonna go with the paid one, I would go with the business plan, and I would do the present. And because, you know, you have up to 700 responses allowed. And if one does the math, that comes out to $10 a month. But I'm going to show you how I create these. So when I create an activity, ask me later. Okay. Let's say I was gonna do, I don't know, what is your favorite color? And I just do out of these 3. I can create that activity. And when I want to configure this, I'll do this here. So this is how I choose how people are going to respond. So everybody has a Poll Everywhere link. And then I can have folks text to join, or if I choose this keyword option, they'll be given a generated code that they'll text to this number. And I find this approach to be a little easier because it doesn't require you to exactly join anything. And then I can also modify how I want that to appear. So if I want like a column chart or a donut chart, I can do that. And then I can modify the things. So if I want to do dark, if I want bright, I can do that. And now if I wanted to do a more open-ended question, you see I can do clickable images, competitions, many, but I'm just gonna look at the word cloud one today and say, what is your... And this one, so for your open-ended, one will have to join via a code. And so if I show what this looks like, I'm gonna go in as a guest to one of these and I'm going to start texting some options. So. And then as more folks, add, that's sort of what they'll appear in the form of a word cloud. And since this is an open-ended question, I can also make this appear as a cluster. I can do a text wall, a word cloud, or a spotlight. And then I can go in, I can determine how quick I want these to appear. So I can look at the effect speed and change that. If I want it to be a little quicker, I can do high, highest, you get the idea. So that's all the tools. So now this is the time for Q&A, and I can stay on for a little while after after this is ended. So are there any questions so far? Hey, how's it going?
Man, I wonder what happened to you. How you doing?
Oh, I'm okay.
Let me get out your way.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm still here.
That's good, man. Glad to see you.
Thanks. Same here.
I see you.
Oh, yeah. And for now.
Well. Yeah, well, won't hold you up too much. All right,
Thanks, was good.
be safe.
You too.
I'll put it back up.
That's fine.
Is that good? All right.
Good job, Joe.
Ah,
That's good.
thanks.
Now you're welcome. I'm really surprised that nobody asked questions.
Same.
So let's see if they come back later and say, hey, I don't remember to do that. We'll see.
We shall.
I'll see you later, Joe.
All right. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Adios.